So from time to time, I'm going to be doing some reviews of post-game press conferences from other teams outside of the Indiana Fever. I plan on pretty much reviewing every Indiana Fever press conference after their game, win or lose. But I'm going to also be doing some reviews of other press conferences from other teams because I want to do comparisons of what you hear and what you see from coaches primarily. I might do players now and again, but more so coaches and their responses to questions. Listen to the questions that are being delivered towards these coaches and see how they respond to them. Because one of the things that I'm noticing with the Indiana Fever and Stephanie White, even the players, is that I don't think they take this thing too seriously. You had Dewana Bonner laughing it up a storm, Aaliyah Boston giggling it up a storm, the media members laughing it up a storm. Oh yeah. Did I mention they lost the game to the Connecticut Sun? Like that's when they were, ha 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 and kikiing after losing to the Connecticut Sun on their home court. A game they trailed by 15, came back, took the lead, and then blew the game and lost. And in that same press conference, you heard Stephanie White make a whole bunch of other excuses. I didn't do a video on that one, but the attitude is clear and the messaging is clear that there is an issue within this franchise of leadership and the lack thereof leadership. And with Caitlin Clark sitting on the bench, not having the opportunity to save this team from itself every single time, you need to have someone lead this group and create an actual game plan that helps this team win. So in this particular video, I'm going to review Cheryl Reeve's press conference after the Minnesota Lynx beat the Phoenix Mercury in Phoenix, no less. And they did this with Napheesa Collier not playing. So let's take a look at this video. But welcome back once again to another edition of Rudy's Rant, Her Game, Her Way Women's Basketball, where we talk facts over feelings. I'm your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. Love to hear what you got to say about this, and obviously the comparisons, because I think this is something that people should be paying attention to, and what's going on in this league, and how other coaches respond to questions, and how questions are being asked in other cities. Again, this is Minnesota. I don't expect any type of tough question for Cheryl Reeve, but what I do expect is I expect command of the room, and that's something that you have to pay attention to in response and truthfulness, no less. Because I don't think Cheryl Reeve is going to bullshit you. So let's pop this video on. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and leave a comment. Love to hear what you have to say. So let's go right now.
Hey, Coach, take me through the impact Kayla McBride has made for the Lynx tonight.
Yeah. 17 first half points was really impactful for us. She got a lot of attention in the second half, and they were getting to her, a lot quicker. But that attention that she was getting was valuable to the others. That being said, I thought, Phoenix's defense was, as we've seen on video, this is as good as defense I've seen Phoenix play in a long, long time. And so credit to them. I think we're a pretty darn good offensive team, and we look like we had not played offense before. So all credit goes to Phoenix, their ball pressure and the passion with which they play that end of the floor.
And take me through Napheesa Heideman's impact in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. I mean, T's been doing that for us. She came back to us this year, on a mission to really impact our team. And she had a tremendous training camp and has helped us more than once in games, at times when we desperately needed her. And, a home game, where we're down 15. And she's the one that, makes a huge three to, get the separation in that game, much like she did in this game. And so T's special, and we needed everything she did tonight.
Obviously, no fee, and it was a little bit sloppy at times. Just how are you all able to pull this one out?
I'm not sure. They helped both teams. We couldn't make very many shots in the first half. They had a bunch of shots that we don't necessarily want to give them, that they had opportunities the same way we did. We had open shooters that were missing. They had open shooters that were missing. The string of misses towards the end left the door open for us, and we were able to make some plays.
You see a certain command of the room, a certain respect from reporters. You listened to the last question. It actually was a real question. How did you win this game? Because, bluntly, she said, I have no idea. Everyone was missing wide open shots. And actually, if you look at the numbers from this particular game, they shot 36%. Phoenix shot 39%. Phoenix made 3 threes, 11.5%, 3 of 26. And Minnesota had 8 of 29, 27.6%. They were 16 of 18 from the line, and Phoenix was 12 of 14 from the line. Clearly, they won this game from the 3-point stripe. And other than that, turnovers were fairly similar. The rebounding was largely similar, but they won that game at the 3-point line. And you basically heard what she had to say, and she was, I have no idea. Everyone was missing shots. So, but let's continue.
To Kent on Zoom.
By the way, did you just hear they went to someone on Zoom? Just to let you know, I have actually formally requested a credential Indiana Fever game against New York Liberty against New York in Indiana. It's June 14th. I tried to get a credential for Tuesday, make a request, but the request was locked after today actually, or the first, so I missed the deadline. But I'm gonna see if they give me a credential request. We'll see. I had to give them all the information from my website, from the podcast, and so forth. This is why I need to have my website built, because my website's being built. It's taking a lot longer than I expected it to take, unfortunately. But it'll be up probably next 3-4 weeks, finally, and I'll be able to actually write stories beyond the podcast and doing just video. But let's see if they give me one. Let's see if they watch my videos and say, "Oh, fuck that guy." But we'll see. We'll see. And if they say "fuck that guy," you know why it is. Because they don't want real media. They don't want real questions being asked. You gotta understand that. That's how this shit works. If you ask for a credential for a league like this and they say no, it's because they don't want you there. That's why. It's not because they don't have the space, because there is a space, because I can ask the questions via Zoom.
Coach, for all the points that Kayla scored tonight, that steal of the inbounds pass out of that timeout, I mean, that was the game. Did you guys sense what they were gonna call? Was it just for anticipation? What happened there?
We talked about in a timeout that and generally as a team, we like to be disruptive and not let a team just simply inbound and get right to their action. So I think Mac's instincts on that were absolutely present, and she made a big play for us.
You guys found a way to slow them down after they were getting a lot of points in the paint through, I guess, 3.5 quarters. The last two, those Sabali layups that put them up 3. Did you change anything, or?
Yeah.
I would imagine that those point paints were annoying you just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it was a bit of a dilemma. Most of our preparation centered on Alyssa Thomas being in the game.
By the way, that was actually a question. That was a question, and she's actually answering it. And she's telling you why.
And, we didn't learn until, later. So our preparation had to completely shift, and we simply, talked about it. And this is a team that we're really unfamiliar with. Like, a lot of these players, they we see them overseas, but, seeing them here and sort of the newness of the Phoenix Mercury, we knew might, take us some time to sort of figure some things out. But I didn't think that we were playing Lynx defense. When we can space the floor and shoot the threes, this is our ultimate no-no. 44 points in the paint and still 26 threes. That's like the ultimate bad defense. And we need to be better than that. And we see these guys on Tuesday. We'll play our defense a little bit better. I'm sure they'll make some adjustments as well. But I would say that our attention to the paint was really poor when we knew, that's, with Kalani, getting more minutes. We were anticipating that. Our bigs don't intimidate anybody. So you're going to, just plant, Kalani Brown down there. She had a good game. But yeah, I mean, I think towards the end, we were gaining in our confidence of the ways that we could help and be there for each other. And so we did that much better.
Talk about keeping it a buck. Our bigs don't intimidate anybody. They had to adjust their game plan on the fly because they were preparing for Alyssa Thomas to have the ball. Alyssa Thomas did not play in this game, so they had to adjust because now Phoenix is going to go pound the paint. And they pounded the paint. They only had 3 threes. They pounded the paint. And Cheryl Reeve just told you, our bigs basically suck. They're not, they don't intimidate anybody. Talk about telling truth. It's truth bomb. She doesn't care. That's why Cheryl Reeve is probably the best coach in the league. Between her, Brondello, and Hammond, those are the three best coaches in the league, and they don't give a fuck. They're going to say it exactly how they feel, and they're going to command that room.
Much has been made in recent days of Courtney's lack of short-term memory.
It strikes again.
So it does strike again. I mean, she's struggling to make a shot, and she steps up and hits that three that ties the game at 71. I mean, just amazing how she's able to let misses roll off her back and shoot the next one.
I told her it's unprecedented. Her confidence is unprecedented. And she says she ain't going to change, and I don't want her to change. Certainly don't want her to change. If I really need to regulate her shots, I can do it. But I don't ever want her, she knows, in big moments, she wants to step up and take those shots. And her only made three was obviously a huge one. And, I'm thankful that her memory is what it is.
So I didn't actually watch this game, people, but we're talking about Courtney Williams, and apparently she had a rough game. Let's see what her stats were in this game. She was 5 of 18. She was apparently 0 of 5 before she hit a big three in this game. She finished 1 of 6. She finished 11 points. Wholly inefficient game. 11 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. A dog shit game. And media members asking a real question. She's the fact that she can't make a bucket. She's not making a bucket, and then she keeps shooting. She's a shooter. She's a shooter. She'll keep shooting. She's a scorer. She's gonna keep shooting. And you got Cheryl Reeve saying, I don't want her to change. I want her to have that confidence that she's going to make the next shot every time. And I think that's an issue that you see, particularly within the Indiana Fever, that the only way that certain players will keep taking shots, and even then, they don't want to, some players won't keep taking shots. Caitlin Clark has to instill confidence in these players to just keep shooting. Shooters shoot. So Lexi Hull, if you're open, shoot it. Don't think about it. Shoot it. If Kelsey Mitchell, if you're open, shoot it. Don't think about it. Shoot it. Sophie, shoot it. Like, shoot the ball. Caitlin will get you the ball. I know she's not playing right now, but she'll get you the ball in a place to score. Shoot the damn ball. Don't shy away from it. Courtney Williams will never shy away from the moment. And you know that because if you've seen her play, she has no fear of anything. So I think it's really cool that you have a coach that says got the utmost confidence in her to just be her, because you need her to be her, especially when you have a game where you don't have Napheesa Collier. You need Courtney Williams to step up. And in this game, she didn't until she did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We would have Brad on Zoom.
Who is it? Brad?
Yep.
Brad, are you there? Are you on mute?
Yes, hi, Coach. How are you, brother, from WS Station? During that fourth quarter, when you were going back and forth, it was a really tight game. Did you see things that the Phoenix defense was doing and that you were adjusting to as the game got down to the wire that made you get those great shots in?
Yeah, I think, by the fourth quarter, we were pretty well adjusted in terms of understanding their ball pressure, the ways that they help to the paint, their rim protection. They're going to have the low defender there. We were making mistakes throughout the game that proved, helpful to us. When we got to the fourth quarter, we kind of knew what to stay away from. Not to say that we played a perfect fourth quarter by any stretch. That was not the case. But I just thought we got more comfortable. And I knew that there would be an adjustment period. It just took us a lot longer than what I had hoped. And maybe some of that was not having a player like Fee. They were able to key on us. We couldn't put much pressure at the rim. Certainly Fee would provide that. Lamb was terrific. I thought Jess Shepard was terrific too. Her competes and, but I think fourth quarter, the mindset of breaking a play to make a play. You're not going to be able to just call the play and have it go exactly like you want it to go. And, Phoenix takes you out of that. Again, credit to them. And our players started just playing and less, worrying about scripting things. And that was a much better space for us.
So there you have it. That's the interview with Cheryl Reeve, post-game press conference. And the Minnesota Lynx is 74-71 win over the Phoenix Mercury, a game that they trailed going into the fourth quarter. They outscored the Mercury by 8 points in the fourth. This was a win they got without Napheesa Collier, who is right now the leading scorer in the WNBA, averaging close to 27 points per game. And I do want to get an interview with her when they lose because I want to see the differences in her approach. But I don't think her approach will change much. I think she's really matter of fact. I think she commands the room. There's no thoughts about what they didn't do or what they did do. She knows everything that they did do, everything that they didn't do. And she's just on top of it. And that's why she's one of the best in the business. That's why she's one of the best in the business. I thought the questions for the most part were decent. They weren't again, they won the game, so it's a little hard and you win the game without your best player. So it's a little hard to attack. And by no means are but that's also the thing. Take a look at this roster. Without Napheesa Collier, their roster is Jessica Shepard, Bridget Carlton, Alana Smith, Kayla McBride, and Courtney Williams. They have no size inside. But what happened? Alana Smith goes for 19 points. Kayla McBride goes for 20 points. Williams has a rough day. They don't have much of anything else. 9 points from Natasha Heidman off the bench. You mentioned her in the interview. The rest of the bench, 2 points total. Bridget Carlton, 5 points. Jessica Shepard, 8 points. So you didn't get any type of major production. They won the game defensively. They only gave us 71 points. And that's what you need to do when you lose your best player. You got to win on defense. That's how it rolls. Yet what you're seeing right now, obviously from a Fever perspective, Indiana Fever perspective, is the defense is worse. In fact, it's actually worse than it was before Caitlin Clark got hurt. So what the hell's going on here? Most people would say that Caitlin Clark's not a great defensive player, might be one of the lesser defensive players on the team, maybe one of the lesser defensive players in the league, but they were better defensively with her on the floor than they are right now without her. That's ridiculous. This is insane. And Napheesa Collier is one of the best defensive players in the WNBA, and yet they still hold Phoenix Mercury to 71 points. You have a team right there that has a commanding coach, and they get the job done. Find a way. There's leadership. There's a command. I can only imagine what those that first quarter, huddle looked like, and again, our bigs. There's nothing to be afraid of. Our bigs are small. They're all skinny. Their bigs are all slim as shit. There's no big on their team. And look, that girl, Kalani Brown for Phoenix, 7 of 8, 15 points, plus 13. How the hell did Kalani Brown not play 35 minutes in this game? That is the difference between a great coach and not a great coach. I don't even know who the coach is for Phoenix right now, to be honest. I really don't. I'm not looking. I don't know, and I don't care. I know that coach is not as good of a coach as Cheryl Reeve because if Kalani Brown has 15 points in 23 minutes, 7 of 8 shooting, and they're plus 13 with her on the court. How is she not in the game? In fact, I'm going to go look right now real quick before I jump off this video, but I want to see what was going on in the fourth quarter because you got Kalani Brown layup, turnover, trying to see if she got pulled out the game. I'm wondering if Kalani Brown even touched the ball after like the 7-minute mark. Let me see here. Because the last mark here is 7:27, a shooting foul by Kalani Brown with the Mercury up 5. Did they pull her out of this game? Okay, 6:40, she had a rebound. Yeah, they took her out. They took Kalani Brown out of the game with 5:48 left, up 3. That's what the Phoenix Mercury did. They got outscored the rest of the way, 13-6. They took out the player who was dominating in the paint. That's utter lunacy. But that's the difference between coaches that know what they're doing and coaches that have no freaking idea. Because that doesn't make any kind of sense. You're being dominated by that player and you pull that. They pull that player. They literally did Minnesota a favor. But nonetheless, Minnesota Lynx got the win. They're undefeated. I think they also won the night, so they're 7-0 now. And I do again. I want to hear her when they lose to see if there's a difference, but I don't think there will be much of one. She'll be very, very matter of fact. She'll tell you our defense was this, our defense was that. We play like this, we play like that, and you're not gonna have any thoughts. You're not gonna have any worries. You're not gonna have any questions about what she did because she's gonna tell you. So you let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell. Let me know what you think about what Cheryl Reeve said, how she commanded the room, the questions that were being asked. Again, the questions were, some of them were good, some were like whatever. But again, they won the game, so it makes a big difference. Nonetheless, let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all. Come on now.